Have you ever watched a finance video and felt like you needed a degree in economics just to understand a single sentence? Like someone starts talking about macroeconomic cycles, leveraged assets, portfolio hedging, and within 30 seconds you're thinking, okay, I have absolutely no idea what this person is talking about. Yeah, I know exactly how that feels. Because most money advice on the internet falls into two categories. It's either so complicated that it sounds like it was written by a hedge fund analyst, or it's some flashy get-rich-quick scheme promising that you can make $10,000 a month with a strategy someone just discovered. And if you're like most people, you're just trying to figure out something much simpler. How does money actually work? My name is Lucas, and this is Finance Simplified. With me, Lucas. I created this channel because I genuinely believe that understanding money should not require a finance degree, a Wall Street job, or some secret insider knowledge. But ironically, my path into finance actually started in university. I originally went to school for accounting because I've always been fascinated by how money works, how businesses grow, how investments compound, and why some people build wealth while others stay stuck financially, no matter how much they earn. But somewhere along the way, I realized something that completely changed my perspective. Most of what we were learning about finance was being taught in a very academic way, almost like a language that only professionals were supposed to understand. And the more I looked around, the more I noticed something strange. Almost nobody outside of finance actually understood the basic principles that control their financial life. People were making massive decisions about housing, debt, investing, and spending, without ever being taught the rules of the game, and that didn't sit right with me. So eventually I made a pretty unconventional decision. I decided to leave university and pursue my passion for learning and teaching finance on my own terms, which is honestly a little ironic, because the entire goal of this channel is to explain the exact things that most people go to school for, but in a way that actually makes sense in real life. Think about it. In school, we learned about the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, or we memorized historical wars and dates. But somehow, nobody ever taught us things like why paying off certain debts can actually make your credit score go down, why two people earning the same salary can end up with completely different financial lives, or why the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make usually have nothing to do with your daily coffee. We graduate feeling educated, but financially unprepared. We let 18-year-olds sign student loan contracts worth tens of thousands of dollars without ever explaining how interest really works. It's basically like handing someone the keys to a Formula One race car when they've only ever ridden a bicycle. And then we're surprised when people crash financially. That's exactly why I started this channel. Because financial literacy should be something everyone has access to. Not just accountants, not just investment bankers, not just people working on Wall Street, everyone. Instead of just hearing someone talk about money, we can visualize the concepts. We can break complicated ideas into simple examples. And most importantly, we can keep things easy to understand. Because here's something most people don't realize. Building wealth isn't about complicated strategies. It's not about day trading. It's not about chasing the newest investment trend. And it's definitely not about getting rich overnight. Wealth is actually much simpler than people think. It's about understanding a few core principles and applying them consistently over time. Things like how your housing costs affect your entire financial future, why your savings rate matters more than your income in the early stages, and how small financial habits compound into massive results over decades. I've seen people making $200,000 a year who are completely broke. And I've seen people earning $40,000 steadily build real wealth simply because they understood how money works. Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about how much money flows into your bank account. It's about what happens to that money once it gets there. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about on this channel. We'll talk about the psychology of money, the math behind financial decisions, and the small habits that quietly shape your financial future. But more than anything, I want this channel to feel like a place where you can actually understand what's going on with your money. Because the truth is, most of us were never given a clear roadmap. We're all kind of figuring this stuff out as we go. And that's okay. This channel is basically my way of sharing what I'm learning along the way. the ideas, the concepts, the mistakes people make, and the strategies that actually work over time. So, whether you're just starting to think about money, trying to get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle, or just curious about how wealth actually works behind the scenes, you're in the right place. If that sounds like something you'd enjoy learning about, feel free to subscribe and stick around. We're going to be talking about a lot of topics that most people were never taught, but probably should have been. And if you've ever felt confused about money, overwhelmed by financial advice, or just curious about how all of this actually works, you're definitely not alone. So, welcome to Finance Simplified with me, Lucas, and I'll see you in the next video.